Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How we doing? How's things? How's life? How's the universe? How's your week been? I yeah. Uh uh I have a bad headache. I took paracetamol a while ago. It hasn't really done anything, so apologies for the slurred speech, even more incredible lack of brain cells and general ness. I'm trying my best. Um, but hello, how we doing? Hello, Simon. Hello, B. Welcome. I will see you in, I guess, a couple of weeks for the clock changes to happen. And hello, B. Right. How you doing, man? How's things? Also, I apologize for the mess in the background. I am mid-major tidy and reshuffle. I'm getting I have a like bay window thing that the curtains cover and I'm taking the shelving unit that I built for that to put it in the loft, taking all the stuff that's on it off, which I boxed some of it up, and I mean that's just my big roll of bubble wrap for shipping units. Um but yeah, and then I'm putting my electric drum kit in the bay window. And then I'm building a sim rig for both racing and flight sims because I have a problem. Um, and VR, I guess that'll all be connected to that as well. But yeah, um, you have a hoarse voice. That's no problem. Thank you. Be right. um, hello, one up Nerdcore. I have OSRTT. Is it worth getting the new version for OLEDs? I review a lot of OLEDs. Remind me, do you have the original or the Pro and Pro? Well, I guess you're asking if the newer version. So do you have the original one? The here's one I prepared earlier. This one, the like USB micro B connector. It would have a button cap here, like a big square button cap here, and the real chunky. This is one of my like earliest test prints, if you can't tell. No, second. Sorry, hold on. Second gen. Do you know what? You mean this one with the 5 photo diodes on the back? I shouldn't have these on my desk, but I do. Um, versus this one, right? There's the three versions. Um, right. Let me calm down. Okay. If you had this one, I would say absolutely yes. This is it's fine, but it's very limited. It was the best that I could do with the knowledge I had. But I have since very much increased my knowledge. Sorry, my chair's so squeaky. This one is very similar to this one. This is slightly better in terms of the like light sensor. The photodiodes that I use in the newer one, the CS, are the same model number as the older ones, but they're from a different manufacturer, and these ones are slightly more sensitive. And I added a sixth. So this generally gets slightly better data, but the actual microcontroller, which has the analog to digital converter and does a little bit of the processing, is exactly the same between these two. So there really isn't much difference. Obviously, I'd love to say, yes, you must buy the new one, but you don't have to. They're very similar. And this one was much harder to actually manufacture reliably, which is another reason why I swapped to this one, this design. But yeah, no, they're very similar in terms of the actual like usage experience, I guess. So yeah, you might get slightly better light data from the newer one, but functionally they are the same. Same microcontroller at least. Simon, hope you're well in general. Just finished my brand new website after my old site got attacked and couldn't recover it. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the website. I am not well. I have a blistering headache. So if I, am extra dumb tonight, I'm sorry. It's the headache. And no worries, I do actually also test a lot of OLEDs. There are a couple of little tricks. I don't know if I've told you or put them on the guide, but especially if an OLED has an adaptive brightness limiter, so a WOLED or a tandem OLED, if when you launch the response time test, you Alt and Enter to make the Unreal Engine 4 window windowed instead of full screen, and then resize it to be basically just the size of the tool on the screen, with a little bit of stick out so you can see the FPS counter and that doesn't screw things up. That generally gets around the adaptive brightness limiter. I've probably said that, you probably know that, but it never hurts to repeat that. So if anyone else happens to be watching who has one of those tools and tests OLEDs, you know. Yeah. Don't tell I used AI to build it. I mean, there are valid use cases of AI. It's just pouring as much money and resources and infrastructure into something that is still very much in search of a problem to solve is an interesting choice. And hello, Jim. How you doing, man? How's things? Good to have you. It's amazing. I couldn't remember the PHP and HTML code I used to know off the top of my head. Nice. Um, I haven't touched PHP in, I don't know, half a decade at least. It's all JavaScript now, bro. You have the guide now, and I had to reach out 2 years ago and help on Discord. That's the one. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that this is not new information because otherwise that'd be really annoying to try and test. Yeah, wonderful. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And I will get back to you when I have some brain cells to spare. No. Hello, Ish. I'm just lurking while I pen a letter to a friend. I know that you're probably just like typing a message or something, which is fine, but the idea of you with not just a pen and paper, but like a, a quill, a big feather, and an ink pot and parchment paper, and you're in a watchtower or something, in a brick stone room in a castle. That's... Oh, and the candle, yeah, wonderful, yeah. Just being lit by a single tea candle. And the blotter for my many mistakes. Exactly. To be fair, I got myself a little whiteboard that I've hung literally like if the camera is there, the whiteboard is just there, like just I can touch both at the same. If I do this, I can touch both at the same time, to keep track of videos and then my many projects. The CO2 monitors that I've been fixing and hacking, the light my Costco light that's still sat behind me and still broken. The sim rig that I'm designing, and I just bought another 50 latency tools. And so the next thing I need to do is one of the boxes that's piled back up there is actually 50 latency tool cases, tops, bottoms, and lenses, and I need to super glue the lenses into the tops. So that's that. And then an unordered but numbered list of videos. So yeah, helps me keep track, because otherwise I was going a bit insane. Am I collaborating with monitor brands with review units, or are you buying them yourself? How long to write scripts for videos? So the first question is, it's very rare that I buy products that I review on the channel. I list in normally the second line of the description, which is, last time I checked, still visible if you, at least on desktop, because that's how I use YouTube, because I'm an elderly patient. The first couple lines of the description are always visible, and so I normally have my affiliate link and then products provided by and whoever provided them. So I try and make that as clear as I can, you know, as up as I can. So that's the answer to the first question. And then the second question of how long does it take for me to write scripts for videos? It depends on what it is, how interesting it is. But I generally write 1,000 to 2,000 words a day on a good day for me. I was gonna check, but I think a monitor script is generally about 1,000 to 1,500 words, so about a day generally after doing all of the filming and testing. Yeah. I mean, you can sort of backtrack of I tend to I post 2 videos a week. To be able to do that, I must produce a video every 2.5 days on average. So the whole video process generally takes between 2 and 3 days, and I sort of generally alternate between doing a video that will take 3 days to a video that will take 2, so that I can do a 3 and a 2. Like I have, so the Intel CPUs, big news. I should have brought them down. Intel are launching new CPUs. I can't tell you anything about the performance, in part because of an NDA, but in part because I haven't booted them up yet, because I only got the software for them last night. But yeah, the Intel is launching new CPUs. The Intel Core 200S Plus series. They've actually done a really cool thing, which is they've not named it the 300 because it is Arrow Lake Refresh. It is apparently there is silicon changes. It's not just like the same dies as last year, but binned better. There is some architectural change, but not enough for them to consider it a different generation. And the brain's gonna blank again. Oh, whopping headache. Anyone? What was I saying? Right, new CPUs. Those new CPUs are slight shifts in the product stack as well. So the 270K plus, which replaces the 265K, now has the 285K levels of specs. So the same 16 E cores, is it? 12, 16? they've basically shifted the whole stack down. So what was the i9 and i7 are now the i7 and i5 in terms of specs, which will be interesting. Yeah. Oh, and Simon says, I was watching Bitwickel doing his IRL live streams. He said brands are not sending stuff out because of all the price increases. Intel included RAM in the box for me. It was only a 32 gig kit, but Intel included RAM in the box for me. It was like receiving gold in the post. One of the new features of these CPUs is that they have support for 7200 megatransfer per second RAM, like covered in warranty or whatever. And so they sent me 7200 megatransfer RAM to test with. So, yeah. And I think the reason I mentioned that is that like that sort of video will probably take me a fair bit longer to do, and so I will be doing things like benchmarking while also starting another video. I think it's probably gonna be the mini PC installing Home Assistant, but yeah. So I've already B-rolled those CPUs, and then I'll be starting to write the script because I have the reviewer's guide and everything about the new features. So I can write the sort of tech explained part of it, and then I can be running automated, semi-automated, and manual benchmarks on a couple of those chips, while also like B-rolling a little mini PC that I showed last week that I want to install Home Assistant on, and doing a guide on how to do that, so that I can sort of do things at the same time, and essentially take an entire week to do one video, but a lot of it's downtime, so yeah. You'll be able to sell the RAM to buy some fuel. I know. I was driving past my local petrol station, and I have to drive past it to get most places. And I think it was like, I don't know, sometime last week, it was like 120. It was 125. Like start of last week or whatever. And then it went to 127 the same day. And it's unusual for there to be a 2p jump in the same day. So that's surprising. And then it went to 129. And it stayed there for a couple of days. I looked today, and it's 135 petrol. Whoa. That's a lot of extra. And I do need to fill up sometime soon. Right, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna rant. I'm mad. Hold on. I know that we talk about electric cars quite a lot in a variety of ways. However, and like we talk about how annoying it is to have to charge them. I understand that. For long journeys, they're not ideal. However, if someone starts a war in, say, an oil-producing country, whoever might do that, they, you know, they might, say, restrict the amount of oil that can come out of that country, or perhaps a neighbouring, quite tight sort of shipping lane that transfers most of oil. They might be able to sort of blockade that and limit how much oil can leave that region, even if it isn't from them themselves. And if you can't get the oil out, then it means that the supply from elsewhere in the world tends to get more expensive because of this thing called supply and demand in economics. And if you have an inability to provide that fuel, well, you can't exactly grow industrial amounts of fuel in your garden. Do you know what you can do with an electric car? You can charge it at home. Even if electricity prices go up, you can get solar panels and stick them in your garden. You can just lay them on the grass, hook up a couple of inverters, and you can charge your car. No one needs to know. Bruh. I must admit, I don't own any electric vehicles. I'd kind of like to, and I was kind of hoping that the storage unit that I was meant to be getting 3 months ago would allow me to like have enough space to actually store extra vehicles like an electric car. But unfortunately that fell through, so my options for storing cars went down dramatically. But yeah, it's... yeah. There's something to be said for the fact that an EV is the most like independent mode of transportation you can have, because they don't need maintenance much, and you can literally buy some solar panels, buy some inverters, and charge your car from the sun every day. And like for a reasonable amount of mileage, you do not need that many solar panels to make that happen. Even in Britain. Hello DT, hello Yeti. Hi dear man, how's things? Mate, you can run on a treadmill for energy fat deposits. I do have a little treadmill down there, yeah, great. Although that uses power to make me use power, it's confusing. I have a rowing machine in the garden that I do really want to add a motor to for some amount of regenerative like energy harvesting, because you can change how much energy is recuperated from a motor, and so you can change the resistance level, and so you can change like the exercise feel while also you know, generating a tiny bit of electricity, only enough to like charge your phone battery a little bit, but it's a fun concept. It's just the project I currently have on the go are a home CO2 monitor, a Zigbee light controller, and possibly a replacement power supply and LED controller board for that light because I broke it. An entire sim rig setup, building more latency tools because they're selling like hotcakes. Thank you. And quite a bit of other things happening in life, including health. So, yeah. Also, be right. I just noticed your comment has been muted. Like, it's just not in the list. Oh, if you go to live chat, it is. There we go. That's better. I'll get to that in a sec. Apparently, GN and Harbor Boxed are industry slaves. What's the context for that? By the way, even hard drives are crazy expensive nowadays. What? Yes, because data centers keep buying them. Yeah, it sucks. Really does. Big suck. Big suck. The whole thing sucks. A penny per day since Monday. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And love oil, hate the wind and the sun. Genius leadership right there. Definitely. Also, I want a little wind turbine. Nah. We shouldn't be too surprised that the Iranian state is anti-LGBTQ when you consider their approach to controlling the Straits of Hormuz. Oh dear. GN was the threat interactive target. Remember them? I don't. I saw I had a video thumbnail, but didn't have a chance to watch it, and then YouTube black holed it. So, yeah. What's the deal? And also, Costco diesel being 149 when it was 133 last week is insane. Not surprised, but so the thing is, Threat Interactive made some solid points, then self-erased by attacking others. Fair enough. Threat Interactive a while ago was moaning about Unreal being unoptimized, then went on a deep ASPI dive against them for many videos. Later on, he called out GN for being shills and started copyright striking them. Oh, that was the good. Oh, my brain hurts so much. There was a very good video like a year ago now about how temporal effects in games like DLSS, but also temporal anti-aliasing is like sucks and is very poor way to do optimization, because it's not really optimization, it's just putting lipstick on a pig. I think. Is that the channel I'm Okay, well, at least I remember that part. Got it, okay. Well, the original video I watched however many months or years ago now was very good. It was very well laid out, and good technical knowledge. You know, I'm inclined to agree on the technical front. Just yeah, maybe not the best to attack others. Great analysis, awful people skills. Welcome to autism. I know the feeling. I had a bit of that when designing the response time tool, specifically the software, because to design the software, I needed to pick some either one standard, or what I ended up doing was multiple options for how to process the data. So for those that don't know, a response time like graph, let me finish being too warm. A response time graph is a graph of light level over time, where it generally goes from either a low level up quickly and then sort of up quickly and then smooths off, or the other way goes from a high level quite quickly and then slows down at the end, at least for an LCD. And picking where and when to start and stop that measurement, like time, is pretty important. The complete time, which is what Eric from Aperture Grill sort of suggested we should use, is quite difficult to find programmatically. but it's technically the correct choice. However, our eyes are stupid, and there's also often a lot of noise in the results. So it's generally a good idea to add a little bit of tolerance so you don't actually start counting until you've gone far enough away from the start, and you stop before you get to the end, basically. To cut off a lot of the really slow trailing bit that you just don't see. Doesn't happen to, like, doesn't occur to our eyes that you're not quite at the right level yet. So you add a bit of tolerance, but what that tolerance is matters quite a lot. The default tolerance cuts 10% of the light level off from the top and the bottom, so you only get 80% of the actual transition, the fastest bit. And because it's based on the light level, not on how much light our eyes see or perceive, it's a gamma curve. It's a power of normally 2.2 is the power, but anyway, you get very inaccurate results, basically very, very unuseful results. So you want to do gamma correction and base it on the RGB values. You can do a percentage of the RGB values, or you can do a fixed number. And I was a little autistically upset that we couldn't, and by we I mean Simon from TFT Central and Tim from Hardware Boxed, myself, couldn't come up with a one size fits all strategy, because we all have our own preferences and like interests and reasons for caring about one metric over another. So yeah, I know the feeling. I learned from the mistake and try to, de-escalate myself before it reaches anyone else. Hello Chris, how you doing? That personal calibration preference is not a bad thing in my view. No, it's not that bad. It's just if everyone is testing like monitors in the same way, it makes it easy to cross-reference those like tests. But yeah, one of the nice things, at least with the response time tool for me, is that it saves all of the data, the raw data. So no matter what processing, like what methodology you want to use, you can always just go back and reprocess that data to a different methodology. So if you decide, like if you start testing with the default, which for a long time was a fixed RGB5 offset, that what you call it, but you later decide actually that gives a bit of inconsistent results, and you think that the tolerance can be a little bit looser to what I now test with and what is now the default RGB10. But you're like, you want to be able to compare results from monitors you've already tested, but you don't want to have to retest them just to get a different methodology in. So as long as you keep the raw data folder, or the raw data files, you can just process them and with whatever methodology you want and compare. Which I thought was a very useful feature, even if the files do end up being like, I don't know, 4 megabytes if you do enough tests. This feels like such a dodgy bastard right now, taking the wheels off an X5 at night in a housing estate. I have to assume with the owner's permission. But yeah, I can see what you mean. See, the RAM companies are selling kits with dummy modules now to make it look like you're running 2 or 4 6 when only one DIMM actually has memory on it. So, do you know what's funny? That's actually not a new thing. I actually have a gigabyte kit from, I don't know, 2018, 2019, 2020, something like that. That came with two dummy sticks, but not because of a shortage, but because uh, those were the days of RGB was everything, and so having four sticks, two of which only had power and like one data line or something to be able to set the RGB coloring. You could put your two actual RAM DIMMs in the appropriate slots furthest away from the CPU, and then put the two like dummy ones in so that you could have four sticks of RGB across the board. The fact that they're now repurposing that idea because you only actually have one stick, but you don't want to look as poor. That's funny. That's rough and funny. Yeah. Woof. It's my sister's car. It was cheaper to buy new wheels with the tires than just the tires. Okay, that's good. Just checking. We got to check, you know? Consent is key. Oh dear. Also, I have had that exact same experience before with wheels on my wife's A3. We bought four new wheels with tires. We eventually changed the tires, but we bought four new wheels with tires because it was cheaper to buy the wheels with the tires and then just run them for a bit than it was to buy without. Steam machine. It's not looking good, is it? Uh, yeah, no. So they've said that it is slated for this year, and at least with the Steam Frame, the new VR headset that replaces my Index, um, that will what you call it? They want that to cost less than the Index, which is $1,000 kit. So yes, not looking good. The what you call it? Sorry, the headache is really like cutting brain power down, and it's yeah, brain power is already not readily available at times. But yeah, my apologies. But uh, I think at the current like I think they intended to launch it at probably $700 or $800. I think at the current price of RAM, I think it's going to be 1,000 or more. And at 1,000 or more, I think you might struggle to justify it in the same way that you could justify a Steam Deck. The RAM alone costs that now. I mean, not quite, but it is 16 gigs of system RAM and 8 gigs of VRAM, if I remember rightly, which is quite a lot. Um, of money these days. That's not a lot of RAM, but it's a lot of money. The right rear wheel won't come off if you're confused. Have you ever had a wheel meld to the hub? Yes, absolutely. You just need to have a rubber mallet, or assuming that the car is jacked up carefully, slide under the back and kick the wheel, rotate it, like handbrake off, and rotate the wheel and out of gear, and kick it from behind, rotate it, kick it, rotate it, kick it. The wheel surface and especially the hub get sort of fused in, or like crusted in basically, with all the brake dust and then water and then, you know, corrosion. So yeah, they get, like, wheels get stuck to hubs all the time. Yeah, pain in the ass, but if you've got a hammer, ideally a rubber mallet, get swinging. If not, get kicking from behind, generally. Although it's a good idea to leave a bolt partially threaded in as you do it, so that as you kick it, it doesn't fall and like smash the wheel. Yeah, there you go. And Chris's Costco PC that he posted in the Discord a little while ago was a crazy price. Now that I, you know, look at it. Funny mention, wheels are cheaper than just the rubber. Similarly, I've been seeing absolute computer bargains on the used market where their entire system is cheaper than the RAM alone. That's not too uncommon, yeah. See you, Chris. Best of luck. Jim says someone told me to jack it up, loosen the bolts or nuts, and then take it off the jack. The weight should break the seal. I guess maybe. I mean, the thing is that your wheels don't rest on the bolts. They rest on a little lip that comes out from your brake disc or wheel hub that centers the wheel on the hub and rotor. And so if you take the bolts, I guess if there's any amount of twisting force and the bolts aren't holding it, like clamping it to the disc, that might work. Yeah, I've not thought about it like that. It feels like a more dangerous game to play than leaving the you know, multi-ton car supported and just kicking at the wheel. But yeah, it's an option if all else fails, I guess. So. I've been working on my own car since I was 17. So I've seen a fair number of issues. And sticky wheels, definitely one. It's a good idea to use a metal wire brush to clean up that hub surface, both the face and the lip. And potentially use brake paste on the hub surface itself, so that it comes off easy next time. That's what I was trying to say. Old steel wheels we just hit with a lump hammer. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, my Clio had steel wheels and some horrible wheel covers. It was the first car, what can you do? Also, it was French, so the head gasket failed at 38,000 miles. If I knew enough about cars back then, I would have fixed it myself, but I didn't, so I took it to a shop and I got rinsed. I didn't get rinsed and like the shop ripped me off, but to get a head gasket even on an 8-valve 4-cylinder engine done, you know, single cam, is rough. So yeah. My French car has 166k on it. Oh, isn't that the wet belt one though? Which admittedly is a Ford problem. Oh. No car has steel wheels anymore. They'll have alloys. Yeah. Oh no, it's a diesel, that's it. It hasn't surrendered yet. Exactly. I mean, my French car went on strike and it was only a couple years. Oh, dear. Drive it. Ooh, wow. Drive it like you stole it. I did. Because it was my first car. Also, and I've said this before, but the Clio had a really stupid clutch pedal design. Whereas you got a clutch cable, I think it was. But they had this linkage. So the pedal itself and then a second like spring bracket. And the pedal had was just a free floating pedal, but they had two like ball and cup joints, like a double ball and cup joint thing, where the balls were all metal on both sides, and the cups were plastic. And so, especially in cold months, the plastic wouldn't change size, but the metal would shrink. And then you put your foot on the clutch pedal, and the tension of you pushing a clutch pedal down would pop the cup off of the ball, and then the clutch pedal would just dangle, and you'd be, trying your best, and it wouldn't be doing anything, and the car would, clunk, and then you'd get very scared. And you're 17 and you're crying, um, and so yeah, terrible design. I just went to a scrapper. He took one off of a Clio that they had, and I bought it for a fiver, and replaced it myself because it came off very easily, and then sold the car. Say what you will about French cars, those old Citroens are beautiful. I mean, there are definitely some very interesting old Citroens. Unique. There aren't many old cars that I like that much. I do like the McLaren F1 though. I have expensive tastes, what can I say? I mean, my favorite old car, I think, is a McLaren F1. The NAV10, the manual, the central driving position, the fact that it was the fastest car in the world for like 2 decades before the Veyron came along. Well, I think wasn't there the Salim S7 broke the record for a bit, like a week. Anyway, yeah, I think, I mean, the fact that the Gordon Murray has created essentially a successor to the F1 in the T50, um, and the fact that it's a fan car, uh, is something special. I've actually seen a T50 drive around Millbrook twice now. I have a picture somewhere of. I think the funniest thing was that so I was at the SMMT test day at Millbrook, where they sort of shut down. Well, they don't shut down Millbrook, but they shut down the drifting pad, the big concrete circle, to put all the car manufacturers there, and then you can just go up as an automotive journalist, which I'm going again this year. Hooray! You go and you just like, hey, can I drive this? And then they give you the keys, and you sod off for half an hour, and you come back and have a chat to them, and then they give you the car, again later. Um, it's a great day. It's a wonderful day. So, me and my friend Phil, who I take with me as my cameraman and confidant, because I can't handle social situations, although we're both autistic and have ADHD, so that's fun. Is I think we had decided we were gonna drive a Citroen Ami, the little electric shitbox. So we were driving that over the bridge at Millbrook from the drift pad to the roundabout with the city route on it, whatever. And so we're driving. I think Phil's driving this little tiny electric car that can't. It's like 13 horsepower and it can't go more than 27 miles an hour. Trust me, we tried. And then coming the other way is this black GMA T50, and I'm like trying to take pictures. And the dichotomy was just so perfect. Dodge Viper and the Jaguar XJ220. Nice. Mine are the Austin Healey Sprite. Man, I want one. And the original Datsun Fairlady 240Z. I do love a 240Z resto modded. I do love that. I like the idea of a Viper. I'd like to drive a Viper just for the fun of it, but I'd hate to own one. And I think I'm the same with the XJ220. But very cool, and I can very much understand why. I had loads of model cars as a kid. My Viper and XJ was my favorite, and I'd still have one today. Also had a Bugatti EB110. Nice. I had a picture of an Enzo up on the wall, and I don't care that much about an Enzo. Also, it needs a wing. Enzo needs a wing. It's just needs a wing. And the FXX's little winglets on the side don't count. It needs a proper wing. It needs a Need for Speed wing. I do like a Carrera and a Ford GT, actually. But I generally just I prefer like newer stuff is better technology. I would prefer a newer Ford GT over an old one. I can understand the appeal of the old one, but I would prefer the newer one. Because this is a better car, it's a faster car, it'll handle better, it'll stop better, it'll actually work. Did you enjoy the F1 at the weekend? No, not really. It's nice that they're overtaking more. I think the thing about, like, even with DRS, which kind of feels like cheating, but even with DRS, what would happen in a race is that a car behind would be faster, they'd be on a better tire strategy, whatever, and they catch and they catch and they catch, and then there's a tense fight where the car in front is using up all of its tires and like energy to keep the car behind, like the attacker behind. And then when they eventually do get round, 9 times out of 10, unless they can pull a switch back and then switch again, that's it. The fight is over. You get the tension, you get the build up, and then you get, the sort of, for lack of a better word, climax of the overtake happening. And it's a fight, it's a battle, it's enjoyable to watch. Whereas watching George and Leclerc leapfrog each other every corner because one had charged their battery from the last corner and one hadn't. That's not as enjoyable, really. I know that they're planning on making some changes, and I know that the circuit layout can affect the energy like performance quite a lot. Some, tracks where you're going to be braking more heavily versus just full throttle the whole time is going to but yeah, and super clipping, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah. Aston Martin BD5. The DB. Um And yes, the DB5 Bond edition does in fact have an ejector seat, sort of. And the guns and the headlights, yeah. At the stage where I love the feel and handling over power, give me NA, hydraulic steering, and as little computer intervention as possible. Happy. Oh, and 3 pedals, please. Thanks. I was like, yes. I in a dream hypercar sort of scenario, I wholly agree because you're changing what the purpose of driving is, right? For petrol heads, um, you the purpose of driving is for enjoyment. You're driving not just for the speed, but for the interaction, the feel, the control, the skill and mastery. So I understand the desire to have as analog an experience as possible. I get it. Um, for everyday driving, I'm really happy that I have uh, an automatic DSG, um, because it makes using the car in any condition and any situation a little bit easier and a little bit more fun. And I like my electric power steering for actually owning the car. But for like a weekend toy, if I want a Cayman or a 911, I want it to be a manual. I want it to be um, raw and vicious and bite me when I do it wrong. Yeah. So, yeah. I only say that because speed is a commodity thing now, with electric vehicles being ridiculously quick, but they're a disconnected driving experience. For sure. I mean, I have had an incredible amount of fun in an Audi e-tron GT on the Millbrook Hill route. Uh, the amount of both speed, braking, and handling that thing offers is just incredible, and it was the perfect end to that day of just like ripping around that track, and being a lot of fun. I probably enjoyed that more than the Audi R8 V10 Plus. The sound for the V10 was biblical, but the actual feel, yeah. But then again, my favorite car I think I've driven is the Porsche 911 Carrera T, which was a 7-speed, 385 horsepower, a turbo flat six, which was just an incredibly connected, raw, sort of driving feel. Yeah. An Alpine A110, even with the automatic, was pretty nice. They have unassisted brakes, which means you actually have to work to stop the damn thing, and that's pretty dangerous but cool and fun. Keep in mind, I'm talking fun car here, the weekend thing, not a daily commuter. Daily commuter, automatic, absolutely. For sure, and for me, like my S4 is the perfect balance of ridiculous, like more than fast enough for UK roads in any situation. I can be breaking the speed limit in 6 seconds on like, joining a dual carriageway on a non-existent slip road. I can be doing faster than the outside lane in 6 or 7 seconds, depending on what, Um, and that's not remapped either. That's why I haven't remapped it, because I can be breaking the speed limit from a dead stop in under 10 seconds. Like, wow. Oh, so yeah. You meant 6-7, didn't you? Nice. Um, well done. There you go. Do you want to do 8-7, 7-7, just to make it? Um, yeah. Actually, I do want to do a rally driving course. I want to do that. If anyone knows any good rally driving experiences in the UK, let me know because I want to do it. Older supercharged AMGs are magical. That'd be a fun project. I mean, they can make. I mean, as a supercharger owner, I can tell you they can make a fun noise. I can only hear like even with my like racing intake, I can only hear it in like second gear on with a specific pull and like specific wind. But when I do hear it, it does sound great. Once I have some more room for some more vehicles, we'll have some more fun things probably. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I am gonna go rest my head. Um, I there won't be a video tomorrow, but there will be one on Monday. Um, and yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hope you all stay safe. Hope you all have fun. All being well, I'll be here next week. As always. And yeah, I think that's it. Have a nice night. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. See you next week.